My name is Harrison Moore. I am studying a Bachelor of Business Leadership and Commerce with a major in marketing, and my favourite subject was Marketing Project 303 because I particularly enjoy data and data-driven decision making when it comes to marketing. Now, in saying this, I currently work for the non-bank equipment finance company, Eclipse Commercial, where I specialise in lead generation via digital marketing, as well as providing data-driven decision making to the business as a result of analysis, insights, and recommendations. I have an analogy for my philosophy of marketing and CSR. If you'd indulge me, it goes something like this. In a popular book omniverse I read called Warhammer, there exist Inquisitors, who are mankind's protectors, shielding us from the evil of chaos that can offer man great power, but which in excess comes at the expense of his mind and soul. Amongst these Inquisitors are two schools of thought, Puritans and Radicals, the former of which do their duty with earthly means and never being tempted by the temptations of chaos. Radicals, however, fight chaos with chaos, and it is those from this school of thought who are the most effective yet most suspect to corruption. The same goes with marketing and CSR. It is often the controversial digital and contemporary campaigns that are the most effective because they teeter on the edge and test the boundaries, are controversial and invite criticism, which has the competitive advantage of increasing cut-through rate, builds brand awareness and interest for the product. Whilst a Puritan or conservative approach to marketing won't rustle any feathers, it runs the risk of being bland by comparison and thereby losing market share to competition who aren't afraid of taking the radical or progressive approach to marketing and CSR. Quite simply, it isn't the marketer's job to determine whether a product is legal or illegal, but rather create the most effective messaging to make people notice and interested in the product within the legal framework. Therefore, the Puritan approach, which plays well within the boundaries, may seek to gain favour by being seen to be corporately socially responsible, I argue is really a losing ticket. To articulate how I intend to apply this philosophy in my future career in the equipment finance industry, which is where I intend to stay, I need to explain a few things. Firstly, there is a major need for education in my industry, where 24.8% of SMEs either don't know what equipment finance is or where to go to get it. So as a marketer, I have two problems. Not only do I have the typical challenge of getting people to listen to me, but I also have to educate them about what my stuff even is. Secondly, there are three channels of funding in my industry, which are banks, non-bank finance companies, which I work in, and brokers. Amongst these channels, there are either major changes or problems that will disrupt the industry. For banks, it is the fact that they are offering businesses equipment finance that just isn't on par with non-bank finance companies because they just don't specialize in the area. For non-bank finance companies, some of our competition just aren't prepared for upcoming legislative APS 120 changes and Royal Commission investigations, which are going to result in higher prices and crackdowns. And as for brokers, consumer law is coming into business law for lending, which means that finance brokers will need qualifications to practice, qualifications which many of them don't have. So how I'll apply this radical or progressive philosophy of mine is not be afraid to make bold statements in marketing. I'll call it the fact that the banks aren't properly servicing their customers. I'll call it the fact that the person's local broker might not even have a job in a couple of years' time. And I'll call it the fact that Eclipse Commercial won't be affected by changes in the market, whilst our competition will. Though, communicating things like this in the finance industry is relatively taboo. In the end, though, I realize that there is a fine line to walk between risk and reward, but I believe it is a line that must be walked to be competitive. Now, to illustrate my progressive or radical philosophy of marketing, I choose to use my Warhammer Omniverse analogy to create interest and cut through. I'll let you be the judge about how effective that's been.